You're listening to the Icandemy Podcast, the podcast for people who can but don't know how. This is where you get actionable steps to turn vague dreams into blissful realities. And I'm your host, Omoshola Victoria Wolabi. So let's get started. Do you ever think to yourself, I want to be able to impact lives, leave an imprint in this world, but you feel isolated, stuck, unclear on how to show up or get started? If you've answered yes to this question, I want to extend a very special invitation to you to join us on our upcoming workshop, the Courageous Confidence Workshop. This workshop is live, where we get to work together on that call so that you can crack the confidence code, awaken your inner giant, show up authentically, and attract your tribe. Head on over to offers.icandemy.org/courageous. Again, it's offers.icandemy.org/courageous. You'll find the links in the show notes below. Hey, and welcome back to another episode of the Icandemy Podcast. How are you all doing today? Thank you so much for tuning in and joining me once again. On today's episode, we're going to be continuing from the last episode where we talked about the mindsets that often go unnoticed but impact our lives in major ways, right? And we uncovered the work of Carol Dweck, who developed the concept of the growth and fixed mindset. And just to recap on that a little bit, she went on in her work to identify that people who had a fixed mindset had a thinking that was fixed. So basically, I'm born this way, I cannot change, is what it is, right? While people who had a growth mindset had a different perspective. People with a growth mindset believed that their most basic abilities could be developed through effort and dedication, that we are not just born in a finite state. We are born to evolve, right? That's exactly what people with a growth mindset believe. While on the other hand, fixed mindset individuals believe that their basic qualities, that is their intelligence, their talents, are static and fixed. We're born this way and that's how it's going to be. So as I was reading through her work, through Carol Dweck's work, it started to make sense to me, and I decided to kind of elaborate it a little bit in this episode with what I call the limited and the liberated mindset. So limited mindset, from my understanding as I was reading her work, is when we have that sustained faulty pattern of thinking that is based on deceptions and lies, fortified by a set of realities. And I covered this a little bit in the last episode, so I'm just going to be continuing from there in this episode. When things happen to us in life, maybe things happen, like, for example, I'm going to use my life as an example, right? Things were going well in my childhood, and all of a sudden, my dad died suddenly when I was 13 years old. That was a realistic situation. But then it kind of messed with my mindset a little bit, because the demise of my dad actually meant that life was not the same as it was before, because he was the sole breadwinner of the family. Things got difficult. And in that difficulty, it was a struggle to actually protect my mind. The good part is, at least things were not always that way. But as things went on and the challenges became more severe, at some point I started to feel like, oh, is this how my life is going to be for the rest of my life? Like, will I even be able to go to college? I don't think I'll be able to afford college. Maybe my life is not going to take shape. All of this like limited mindset started to kick in, because, and those were lies, right? Those thoughts I was thinking, the way my mind was beginning to set, was setting based on a deception and a lie. What is the deception and a lie in this scenario? The deception is, yes, the breadwinner of my family was dead, but that is not the end all be all. There are people who still go on to do great things. Orphans, even, at least I still had my mom. There are people who lost both parents and still went on to accomplish great things in life. So that was a lie and a deception. But the lie and deception was fortified by my reality, by the reality that, yes, finance was a struggle, my dad was dead. That's the realistic scenario. But the lie was that I was telling myself is, oh, maybe my life is also just over and I will not be able to amount to anything because the breadwinner of my family is dead. You see what I mean? So most times a limited mindset happens because of a sustained, in my case, thank God, I was able to start to reorient my mind and look for people who had lost their fathers, who were orphans and still went on to do great things, to give me that boost that yes, I can also do it, right? And my faith also played a huge role in that as well. So for other people, the moment we start to sustain these faulty patterns of thinking based on these lies and deceptions, because the truth is, the reality is we are actually faced with a daunting problem, right? So we're not going to disregard that or minimize it like, oh, it's nothing, just move on. No, that situation is actually real. The challenge for most of us is how do we face our reality but not buy into the lies and the deception that this is how it's going to end? Now, on the liberated mindset, when I cross over to the liberated mindset, it's quite the opposite, right? So a liberated mindset is a sustained pattern of thinking that is based on the truth that humans are evolutionary by nature. Therefore, all that we see is not all there is. Based on these truths, we can become better with consistent effort. So what I'm saying in essence is, if you move away from the limited mindset and going back to the example of my life that I just shared with you now, looking at that sustained pattern of, okay, yes, my dad is dead, but this happens all the time. Like I said, there are people who have lost both parents and still went on to do great things because we are designed to evolve. We are designed to evolve. Life will happen. Things will happen. New things will come along. Help will come. Okay, family, let's face it, we've all felt pain. We've suffered the losses. You know what it's like to want something so bad, but not see a path to its accomplishment. The question, however, is, do you know how to pick yourself up and move on despite what has happened? This is what I share with you inside of my new book, Good Medicine for the Crushed Spirit, a practical guide to helping you find purpose when adversity strikes. Inside this book, you will find personal stories, relatable biblical tales, and anecdotes that prove you are never alone in your despair. I will inspire you to turn pain, discomfort, disappointment, or setbacks into something positive that works for you. So if you're ready to change your life in meaningful and purposeful ways, get your copy of this book today and let the transformation begin. I can study. Even if I can't afford like the most expensive school, I can go to like maybe a government school. Even if I can't even afford to go to school, I can go to the library and get books. Even if I cannot get books, I can look for books. Like I know in Nigeria then, if you like wait at the bus stops under the bridge, there were old books that were sold for like next to nothing. I could pick up books. I could orient myself. You don't have to only learn within the four walls of a classroom. Life is a school in general, right? Life is a school. So when I start to tell myself these things, like it cannot be that bad, no matter what it is, I will do what I can do and just keep on going, having that belief, that foundational truth that we evolve. Therefore, things will get better as they go. And because I believe things will get better, the thought is now going to influence my actions, right? Because if I stay in the limited mindset thinking, oh, this is the end, nothing's going to happen for me, the desire to try is not even there. Like, I don't even want to try. Like, there is nothing to do, right? Meanwhile, on the liberated mindset side, when I see the possibility that, okay, it doesn't matter what has happened. Yes, my dad is dead. Things may be difficult, but there's always light at the end of the tunnel. I become more inspired. My resolve is higher to even try, to even look for other possibilities on how to move forward. And another example that I would like to share is when you give birth to a newborn baby. Oh, they're so cute. They are just small. They come in these innocent looking little helpless things. In the limited mindset, we assume, I want to like break it down so you see clearly what I'm talking about. If you have a limited mindset, what you're essentially saying is that this newborn baby that I have in my hand right now is forever going to be a newborn baby. because, oh, this baby is helpless. They can't even crawl. They can't even walk. They can't even eat themselves. They rely on us for help to feed them, wipe their face, give them a bath. That's how they're going to be. Nothing can ever happen to this child again. It's what it is. That's exactly what it means when you think of any situation as within the frame, the lens rather, of a limited mindset. You're saying that this baby that you have in your hands is never ever going to grow. But guess what? That's a lie and that's a deception, because you and I know that babies are designed to grow. All of us adults were once babies, and here we are today, regardless of whatever was going on in the world as well, right? But a liberated mindset understands that this baby is only helpless for now. This baby has the potential to grow. Yes, this baby might need me to feed him or her today, but it will get to a point where they can feed themselves. Yes, this baby, when I put them in one spot, they cannot move, they cannot do anything. It will get to one spot where they start crawling all over the place and I start to chase them all around. Yes, this baby can only crawl today, but it will get to a point where they start to run all over the place, right? Yes, this baby is just a baby. They don't understand. They are only interested in cartoons and funny shows. It will get to a point where they are more mature, they can think better, they lose interest in even watching those things that seem so fascinating to them at this point. That is how we have a liberated mindset, right? Because the word limited actually means something that is small in number, that is kept within a particular size or range or time, having just one specific purpose, right? That's what it means to think in a limited manner, right? Meanwhile, a liberated mind sees the bigger picture. So a limited mindset is when you see, for example, an acorn, and you look at this acorn, it's so small. Oh, this is what it's ever going to be. But that's limiting, because the moment you plant those same acorn in the right environment, in the soil, it grows, it blossoms, it becomes this huge tree. And that's how we should see our life. Every phase of challenge that we go through today is just an acorn. We still have the potential, when we put ourselves in the right environment, in the right mindset, to flourish and become this really big standing tree that can overcome challenges and go on to live a very successful life. So this episode today is just to encourage you. And I'm just going to recap a little bit on what we've just touched on so far. So today we've talked about limited versus liberated mindset, and we established that a limited mindset tends to make us avoid challenges, give up easily, see our efforts as fruitless, ignore useful criticism and feedback, and feel threatened by the success of others. Whereas when we have a liberated growth mindset, it means we're willing to embrace challenges, we persist even in the face of failure, because we see failure as feedback, right? And we see errors and failures as useful information on what not to do again and how to do it differently, right? We see effort as a path to mastery, learn from criticism, and we find inspiration from the success of others instead of feeling threatened by them. Let me know what you learned from this episode, and let me know how your mindset has evolved over time. Head on over to www.icandemy.org to leave me a voice note using the tool on the website. And if that's not your jam, no problem at all. You can always send me an email to hello@icandemy.org. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. And until the next one, where we're going to be continuing this conversation, keep on shining. This episode is sponsored by our very own Mogul Mindset Training. Are you ready to embrace new experiences, see opportunities where you thought there was none, and totally surprise yourself? Because you can, by unleashing the power of your mind. Mogul Mindset System is a 5-step system that helps you retrain your mind to work with you and not against you, so you can awaken your inner giant, 10x your impact, your income, and become truly unstoppable. The truth is, you, my friend, have a superpower, your creative genius. And I'm here to make that power multiply manyfold so you can get past fear, self-doubt, and finally start working and thriving in your life and business. Ready to unleash your superpowers? I thought you would. Head over to mogul.icandemy.org. That's mogul.icandemy.org to learn more. So there you have it. Thank you so much for listening. And for more content like this, follow us on our social media handles. On Facebook, it's at Icandemy, the Facebook page. On Instagram, it's at Icandemy. Or come say hello over on my personal page. On Instagram, it's at Omoshola Speaks. On Facebook, it's Victoria Wolabi. Feel free to reach out, introduce yourself, say hello. I love meeting you. And if you have any stories that you feel will inspire another woman to action, I want to hear from you. I really do. I love hearing from you. Send me an email to hello@icandemy.org. So it's hello@icandemy.org.